Okay, so here's a fantastic drill for you. This I simply call the circle drill. It works really, really well. It's something that you can start to teach to people. Um, it's up to you, but pretty much you can start to teach them after you've taught them. I'm going to show you the drill now, and I'm going to explain a few variations and a few bits of progressions. And what I want you to do is just steal this idea and use it. It's dead good. There are a couple of small coaching pointers to it, though. As you can see, I've laid out a circle. Well, it's more like an egg shape. You can make that circle as big as you want. Um, the more people you have, the bigger the circle needs to be. And each person pretty much needs a dot. Now you can see that these dots or these cones are not evenly spaced. This is deliberate. And you can see as well, sometimes we have, like here and over here, we have two cones together. This actually means a double jab. Um, the cones are there purely as a visual reminder so that people know what punches to do when, because otherwise what they'll do is they'll punch in a rhythm and they won't set up a what I would call a disruptive rhythm. I like my fighters to fight with a disruptive rhythm, so they're very hard to figure out. Let me take you through the coaching points of this first and show you how it works, and then I'll show you how you can use this in your class. I've made this circle very small because there really is no need to make it any bigger because I can't fit it onto the video screen. However, in your case, this circle might be 10 meters across, or if you've got a big class, it may even be 20 meters across. It stops them, firstly, compressing, because as you do circle drills, people compress and come closer. And secondly, it serves as a visual reminder. So let me take my stance over here. I'll chuck an extra cone down here so that I'm in the center of the shot and you can see what I'm going to do. Now, the purpose of this is what I'm trying to do is trying to move rotationally like this. Now, my knee is a hinge joint, so it is no longer good enough for me just to point this foot forward. If I want to move that way like this, because this is a hinge joint, I need to turn my foot sideways like this. So this foot, if I'm an orthodox boxer, is around about 2 o'clock. If I'm a southpaw boxer, it's around about 10 o'clock. The back foot is a little bit flatter, but there's not too much difference between them, maybe just a few degrees. So I turn this here now. Your front knee, your front heel, sorry, is pretty much like a ship's rudder. It directs which way I want to move. If I want to move sideways, I point it this way and I will move sideways fluidly. If I'm this way straight on, when I move, that foot goes straight, that leg goes straight, and I stumble. So by turning my foot, I'll be able to move fluidly like this. If, however, I'm doing a combination where I want to throw a punch and I want to move back, I want my heel pointing pretty much more or less a little bit straighter, because then I can push back that little bit easier. So you do have to alter the angle of this front foot just a little bit in order to help you. But when you're doing this drill, it's going to have to be sideways on. Now, the other thing you're going to need to do when you do this is you're going to need to point your shoulder in like this. Hopefully this microphone isn't going to brush my jacket and then it'll make a noise. So turn the foot, turn the shoulder, and then have your hands wherever they're going to be, usually in a guard position here. And what happens is I just drill number one. This is number one. All I do is I move around the circle like this. It's not a very good circle, so I'll just move that in. I move around the circle like this, pointing my shoulder in at the target, just learning to move fluidly. And we just start off with moving like that, just walking. Once they're a little more confident, they can then start to move like this. Now, yes, you're crossing your feet very, very slightly, but bear in mind that this is no longer a beginner's drill. This is a far more advanced drill and something that is far more like what someone's going to be doing when they move on. So we're not standing still forever. We're trying to develop things. So we start to move like this, that little bit more fluidly, pointing the shoulder in, having the heel in the correct direction. Now what we want them to do then is we want them to start to throw a jab as they're moving around. Sorry, we start moving firstly to the lead foot. We want them to start throwing their jab whenever they pass one of these cones. Now the problem is if you tell people just throw a jab when you're ready, they'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And they keep the same rhythm all the time. Now, this is not ideal. We don't want this. I like a disruptive rhythm. So what I do is I put out the cones, and they have to throw a jab when they pass one of the cones. So they move around and they've got a visual marker. So there's a big gap here, so they're going to take more steps in between. Hopefully I'm still in shot here. What I'm going to do is when we throw the jab as well, sorry, I should mention this safety point, this coaching point. When I throw my jab there, the foot and the hand land at the same time. Watch. There. So that and that land at the same time. If I do this and then punch, I'm slowing my movement and my punch is down. It's decelerating my movement. So it's very, very important that they land at the same time. So we start them off firstly like this, just going. So they walk around, walking, and they go boom, and say boom as they do it. This is a double jab, so this will be a double jab. Boom, boom. They take a little second step on that double jab. Then they move around, focusing on keeping this shoulder in here, and then boom. And they say boom because it reminds them to keep the foot and the hand at the same time. So double boom here, step out a little bit, boom, boom. So they move around that circle. Now they're going to need to do this possibly 2-3 times to go around the circle till they've done it enough times that they're fluid and they've got their timing right. Do not move them on to the next drill until they have their timing right. They must be able to land the foot and the hand. The heel must be in the correct direction and the shoulder must be pointed in towards the target. If they're front ways on like this, it doesn't work. So they have to do these things first. Only when they can do that can they start to move more fluidly. And we're moving to the lead foot, doing the jab. So what we do is there, boom, boom, double here, boom, boom, moving around, pointing the shoulder, boom, there, boom, boom. So you can see one drill, if you rush them from one drill to the next and they're not ready, that's going to cause them problems. And we want them to get this right. So each drill may take up 1 week or 2 weeks work with each person. When you've got them on the pads, you can be holding the pads and moving them around like this. So you can do that. So when they move into the lead foot, this is drill numbers 1 and 2 and 3 if you like. They're going to be moving around like this. Now, when they move into the back foot, convention states if you're going to move to the front foot, you throw the front hand because you're moving that way anyway. When you throw the back hand like this, you go 1, 2, the weight's on this leg. If I then try and move this way, I'm going to be slowing myself down again. My opponent could hit me. I don't look fluid. So what would happen is I'd go 1, 2, and the weight's on this leg. Make sure the knee doesn't come past the toe. If the knee comes past the toe, then there's all sorts of problems because they have to push up instead of going back like this. So we're going to go 1, 2, and then move across like that. Now you can go back or you can go across. I prefer going across, and you do that by rolling at 90 degrees across that front foot. So 1, 2, boom, like that. Keep your hands up. Don't do what I do, dropping my hands. It's up to you how you do that drill. So this time we're going to rotate in the opposite direction. Now this is the opposite obviously for southpaws. So if I start this side, once again the same thing applies, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with jab, landing the foot at the same time, cross, then I push across to my next one. Now I've got a double jab and a cross here, so I go boom, boom, cross, there. Then I move across, pointing the shoulder in all the time, and then I go jab, cross, push across. Now I've got 3 or 4 steps before I move to the next time I do it, and I've got a double jab, 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 cross, push across, move around, jab, cross. Once again, you're going to start with that, and you're going to do that several times. That's harder because moving to the back foot is harder than moving to the front foot. I would say it takes twice as long to learn. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do that more fluidly when they've got all of the small things right. Landing at the correct time, pivoting the back foot. When they can do all these things, then they can move more fluidly. So, jab cross, stepping further out, double jab cross, step across, jab cross, and so on. So then they start to make themselves a little bit more fluid. Going into week 3 or 4 or wherever it is, the next set of drills, what we're going to do is do more of a combination, move into the lead foot. We have to finish with the lead hand, so what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then move like this. Then we've got 1, 1, 2, 3. Now I might finish with 1, 2, 1 here. 1, 2, 1, and we want it to be nice and fluid, so they move around. So we start off nice and slowly like that, not much in the way of fluidity, just kind of walking around. Then when they get better, they can start to actually move around that much more fluidly. And I like to see people alternate between different lead hand combinations. By lead hand, I mean combinations that finish with the lead hand. If you haven't seen the video before, have a look on our YouTube channel, Boxercise Ltd, and have a look for the video. I think it's called How Not to Get Hit, or How Not to Get Hit So Often. Watch that video and that will explain exactly what I'm going on about here. So we move on, and so here I'm going to do a 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, double jab here. So I'm going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, move in, 1, 2, 1, double jab, 1, 1, 2, 3, move in, nice and fluidly. And these little cones are giving me a visual reminder when to throw my punch rather than counting in my head, because that's going to be far, far more useful. So then when we move on to the next drill, we're going to be moving to the back foot with back foot combinations. Nice one, just a simple 1, 2, 3, 2, works pretty well. So once again, we're going to move the opposite way around this time. So I've got to get the jab time right, and then 1, 2, 3, 2, push, move across, 1, 2, 3, 2, double jab this time, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, moving across, 1, 2, 3, 2, there, could change it, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 6, moving across, much more fluid, with a combination. The next step after that is where it starts to get to the point of becoming a bit more difficult for some people. And what you're going to do now is you're going to vary the combinations that you, the coach, says to them. They have to do the correct number of punches, the correct punches, and then choose to move in the correct direction. So at this point, they're starting to learn that if you, the coach, says 1, 2, 3, I do this. I'm going to double jab here. If they say 1, 2, 3, 6, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 6, and I move back this way. Then you, the coach, say 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, I move. 1, 2, 1 again. Now they say 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. I know to step this way because I've finished on the back hand. So these drills are very progressive, and they start at A, then go to B, C, D, E, and then when you're doing this, drill E as a warm-up and as a physical literacy skills exercise. It can be a warm-up, it can be a training session, it could be a circuit station. I like to get the whole group doing this all together, because you can see when the whole group is doing it, whether they do this correctly or not. This will take them a lot of practice. I like to give my people, when they're in my class, or the guys that I train, I give them homework. My favorite homework to give to people, incidentally, is this. They walk around holding their ears. For the first week after they've done their first Boxercise class, they walk around holding their ears. So they learn to keep their hands up everywhere they go, except the supermarket, that is. With this is homework. They get a dot, just one. They can take a dot home with them, and they just practice doing this, moving around that dot. So they practice, 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 and then they'll get it right. If you need to show them this video, show them this video so they know what they're doing. This is really for you guys, so that you guys know how to do this, and this is going to give you at least another 5, possibly 10 weeks progression on top of your basic Boxercise skills that you've got, the 8 punches. You can start to incorporate this sort of stuff with them, and you've always got something new that they're teaching them. Once you run out of ideas with this, you need to go onto the PT course, because at this point you've exhausted what you can really do with your basic level of knowledge. But this is a very good start for it. I hope that drill's helpful for you guys, and hopefully this microphone hasn't brushed too much on here, because I want to do this in one take. Good luck with it, guys. Hope it works for you.